And APB, American Protection Bureau, voted #1 best on Long Island for all your security needs. Call 631-390-9050. That's 631-390-9050. APB.
So we had Miami Sweet Heat on, right?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm like in love with these girls, man.
That's
I gotta say it, dude.
That's what you wanted to tell me.
Lindsay and Lori, man. I mean, Lindsay. So who was the guy? What was the guy's name that was on the show? What was his name?
What, Nigel?
Nigel, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think now that I'm looking at them more since they've been on the show.
Okay.
I think Nigel is with Lindsay. I think they're together. I think they're married actually, because I'm pretty sure I saw a ring on Nigel's finger.
All right. This is what you're looking for.
Well, because I am like secretly, well, I'm not secret anymore.
It's not,
but
no.
I'm in love with like Lori, man. I am fucking crazy in love with this girl, dude.
Nut job.
Not that she'd have anything to do with this bald fat guy, but I mean, oh my god, dude! I am like they are sexy as all hell, both of them, dude.
Oh god, but I hope that they're never casting that movie Wizard of Oz if they ever do another remake. I'll leave it at that.
What does that mean? What?
Oh, you know what that means. You know what that means. Why, you want to set me loose? You really want to? You want to set me loose right now?
God.
Oh, you know, they were, first of all, they were tremendous guests. Love them. And I can see that they really were enjoying themselves and having a great time. Okay, we get to the game. All right, and sure, some of our games in the past were much racier than the game we were playing.
By far, dude.
This was PG. You know, I mean, pretty much this game. All of a sudden, it's like I hear the Empire Strikes Back music going on. You know, like dun 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 dun, and boom. There's some letter in the middle of our live telecast telling us we need to stop this game right now. I'm like, looking up at the sky.
You're like, where's this coming from?
I'm looking down at the ground because I don't know if it's good or evil that's invaded the show. I'm like, what is going on? Then you're taking a call live on air. You know, that poor Abe has to mute you because, you know, live, this is so important. Look, the people that we were asking about during the game were harmless, like Danny DeVito, for God's sakes, you know. And no, Michael, putting up the Elephant Man is not pushing the envelope. We're having,
dude, I got to be honest with you. You're right. It's not even close to pushing the envelope at all, dude.
I think that the Wizard of Oz reference, you know, pay no attention to that one behind the curtain.
Right.
I suspect that they were afraid that the next names that were going to come up in the game possibly were Kamala Harris, Donald Trump.
You know what, dude?
Blah.
I think you're 100% right.
That's my gut on that. But personally, for God's sake, you do not invade somebody's live show to do something like that.
Let me ask you a question.
That's a bad look for the show. That's a bad look for the guests, the people you represent. They're having a great time. You just made everybody look like you didn't make anybody look too cool. You know, look, it's my opinion, all right? And I think I'm entitled to it.
I also think there is a possibility, being the fact that they're on Paramount, that they did not want them to say it. Like, listen, let me put it this way. Okay. I like WoW. You know, I love women's wrestling, right? And I like the idea of WoW.
Listen, we both supported fully. Yeah. That's why we wanted them on in the first place.
But let's be, we're honest, right? I wouldn't necessarily say WoW is successful right now, right? I mean, it's starting, right? It's almost like AEW. You know, to be fair to AEW and WoW, they're all new starters. They've been around 5 years. Doesn't matter all the money you want. WoW's been around 2 years. Again, I would say most of the people like Jimmy, and they kind of enjoy women's wrestling, but it's not really on their forefront. I think I'm
Right.
more of the minority
Oh,
on that case,
yeah, you
right?
love it. Yeah,
And
absolutely. Hmm.
and you know what? All we look again. I think not to overstate our value as a team here, but I think our track record states for itself. I mean, from
Yeah.
Maven to Ron Shaw to
Yeah.
you know
Tito.
trying to
Tito.
Tito. We
Sandman.
we have brought some of these people into the limelight that weren't necessarily in the limelight for a long time.
Oh, then I take back Tito and Sandman.
Right, no,
I
but
understand what
but
you're.
you know what I'm trying to say? We've
Yes.
brought we
Yes.
have
Yes.
we've either resurrected or brought people to relevance. And the reason that's been the case is because people get to see these people in a different light in an area which is
Right.
not so
Right.
protected by a
Right.
bubble,
Right.
and they
Right.
see a
Right.
funny side of that. And again, I think WoW should realize what they actually have in Lindsay and Lori, right? And and go with it, right? Number one, they're heels. All
Right.
right. Number two, they're two beautiful women, right?
Right.
And I don't mean to be, sexist, right? But they're
You're allowed to state facts.
right,
Keep
right.
going.
They're good wrestlers. They've got
Hmm.
really good mic skills.
Yeah.
Let them show their
Right.
side that people don't see them, and you see
Right.
them on our
Right.
show
Right.
having fun,
Right.
looking at people and saying. And again, if we were able to finish the game, you
Right.
and I were at the end, right?
Right.
See, right? So it was
Right.
like there was a whole skit to
The
this, and it
joke's
was like
on us at the end of the day. Everybody
exactly we
calm
didn't
down.
even get to
Yeah.
that
You
point
know.
with them. But anyway,
Yeah. No,
I
Mike,
am a big
really, I
fan
got
of
to
them.
get this. I'm sorry. I got to get this in, though, because to me, it's very
Yeah.
important. You mentioned before how we've helped relaunch or planted a seed for someone who was either inspired and got out there again,
I like the word inspired. We've inspired.
or or started something completely fresh for them in their career. And I will never forget, because just in case people think that we're just like, overestimating our ability to inspire somebody, I will never forget the day that Disco Inferno came to the studio years back. Okay, Disco Inferno was a great guy, by the way, to me. Okay, I thought he was a wonderful dude. He was really cool, very smart guy, right? And he sits down on the couch, and it's pre-show, and he sees us with the notes, and we have our script, and you know how
Yeah.
what we do with our scripts,
Right.
So we're looking over the scripts, and he's sitting there, and he's like, and I can feel his wheels turning. I could. I'm one of them. I can tell. I can feel somebody when they're thinking something, And he was like, he said to us, he's like, "You guys have scripts?" And we were like, "Yeah, it's a loose blueprint, but yeah, it's good to be prepared and know what you're going into." And then we went outside for a smoke. Wink, wink you know and he was talking to me more. He was asking me questions, and I explained the dynamics and how much of the business end that you so efficiently take care of. And I organically like to, spin off of what I see on a script and let it go just naturally. I said, in between the two of us, it's a tremendous balance. I was like, because you got to have two different takes. The next thing I know, and he's thinking, man, I can see him thinking. The next thing you know, was Conan and Disco. And I know damn well, and it's okay. He could say no, well, he's not, blah blah blah. I know what I felt that day, and I saw a good guy who was processing what he was witnessing through watching what we did that day. And boom, there's Conan and Disco. And we've seen it with other guests that we've had on, where they came on, then they want to try the podcast world. What did Lanny say to us? You remember what Lanny said? Lanny got the idea because he saw us. He was like Lanny Poffo. He was like, "Oh, well, maybe I should try this." And then, like a month later, what did he do? He calls. He's like, "This is hard."
Well,
you know, but
that's a legitimate
this stuff
true
happens.
story. JP
Yeah.
Zarka, I think, hooked up and they made the Genius Cast, right?
Right. Right.
And Lanny, the first, it was doing pretty well, right?
Of
Lanny
course.
was telling his Lanny stories,
Right.
but just like a lot of times with these wrestlers, they hit a wall, right? Because
Right.
you've told all your stories.
Right.
And unless you're look, I'm not a fool. You're not a fool. Unless you're a Dutch Mantel or Kevin Nash,
Right.
also who have hosts that could help them go
Provides
along.
balance.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
the kid James is he's a good host. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, he's a good
Right.
host.
Right.
Sean Oliver is a fucking OG, right? The guy's got his shit together.
Right.
So you've got a combination of guys who could speak and a good host. But most of these wrestlers, they hit a wall, and
Right.
it's like
They do.
I watch some of these shows, Jimmy, and I mean, I love Ted DiBiase, okay? But
Okay.
and again, this D'Angelo guy does Jake the Snake, and he does. My thing is, where do you find, like, how does a wrestler decide on their host? And that's what we asked Francine when they were in, and she said, "Oh, they just gave me this guy." I think that's what she said. Correct me
Mm-hmm.
if I'm wrong, but I see some of these guys, and it's like, how many questions can you ask these guys? Nash is successful because can go every which way, and they always
Right.
just sprinkle some wrestling in, and some people don't like it,
Right.
obviously, because they just want to hear their wrestling talk, and then other people like it, right? And I mean,
Right.
but I mean, let's talk about Marty, right? I love
Mm-hmm.
Marty. You love Marty. When
Mm-hmm.
Marty came, he's like, I want to do a podcast. He actually asked us to host a podcast at one point, and I was like, can't do it, right? Because first of all, Marty's very hard to control, right? Marty's a free thinker, man. And a lot of people try to make fun of him in a lot of ways for whatever, because he acts goofy sometimes. The dude he's a very smart guy, and he's very opinionated, and he's very type A personality. If you don't think Marty Jannetty's a type A personality, you're wrong. And when they hooked up with this guy Savage, right? Again, not knocking this dude Savage, but the dude couldn't host. He
Right.
couldn't host. He couldn't keep. And again, keeping Marty on track is hard, right? Because
Right.
Marty is Marty, right?
Right. Right. Well, to give the kid across the pond some credit too, let's not forget he's also good when he's done shows with other guys too. He's able to do both. You have to have that balance with the co-host one way or the other. I'll tell you something else too that you mentioned. That look, Nash is smart. You do want to talk about some current stuff. Why do you think Bubba Ray is? He can mix it up because he talks about current stuff. It is the opposite of what you said happens to most of them. When you run out of stories, now you got to stay creative. Now you got to do a Monte and the Pharaoh.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
And that's so back to Lanny. Lanny's flat out said, "I can't do what you guys do."
But this
That
is
was
hard.
an exact conversation. I can't do it. It's too much work. It's too hard. And there was nothing wrong with him saying that, right?
No, he was, Lanny was always cool with us. He was just like, this is hard. I was laughing. I was like, this is hilarious. He's like, no, thanks. I enjoyed it for a short time, and that's enough. I can't.
I want to thank everybody who's hanging out with us at 10 o'clock at night right now.
Thank you.
We were on Thursdays. We had to work with Abe to produce for us on Fridays, so we moved to Fridays, and we shoot at 7:30 and 9 o'clock.
Right.
But we're attempting to build a channel and give more variety to people, and we had a show that was making its debut today, which ended up getting us a 90-day warning because they broke rules. And anyway, me and Jimmy pushed ourselves off to 9:30, and so again, we appreciate it. Joined us.